This program is for informational and educational purposes only. This program is not a solicitation or recommendation for any investment or security. Investments or securities mentioned in this show may or may not be owned by Nepsis Advisor Services. Nepsis Advisor Services is an SEC-registered investment advisor. Thank you for joining Journeys with Joni, Financial Clarity Conversations, today and every Wednesday on Sunny 1450 and 1320.
Welcome to Journeys with Joni. My name's Joni Rametta, and I'm here today with my co-host, Mark Clark. Join us as we travel on the financial road to clarity. I'm excited about our program today. Today we'll be having a guest speaker, Brenda Zafria from Let's Be Safe. But in the meantime, first, Mark, want to say hi to everybody?
Well, yeah, Joni, it's awesome to be here. I know we talked a lot about finances on our last show, and this is a financial show, but I am really, really stoked about today's show. Yes, we're a financial show. Yes, we are financial planners. We do all the money stuff. But at the end of the day, it's about the people that we have in our lives. And I am really, I don't want to spill the beans because I know, Joni, you want to spill the beans, but I am really excited about this. And maybe I'll elaborate in a little bit more after you kind of talk to the people about what we're going to share today. It's kind of a break from what we normally talk about. So it's a pretty cool topic today.
I think so, actually. One of the things that I've always wanted to do was have an impact in relationships with people and doing things more than just the normal financial processes and the investments and all that kind of stuff. That's all part of what we do. But what we really want to do after that is impact the community. And actually, Brenda is a guest here today, and she's actually my neighbor. And we've had several conversations about some of the things that she has done. And I was so excited by what she does that I wanted to make sure that everybody here knows what's going on and what her story is. So welcome to the show, Brenda.
Hi, thanks for having me.
So you have I guess it's a program. It's a program, and it's a heart to help kids. Mm-hmm. And you've written a book,
right,
called Let's Be Safe.
That's right.
And tell us a little bit about why you got involved with helping children like this.
Okay. Well, I got involved with working to prevent the sexual abuse and abduction of children over 26 years ago when I was a single mom. I wasn't planning on being a divorced mom of a child, but that happened. And I knew that I had to then put my child into daycare and rely on family and friends and other people to help me with childcare needs. So the first thing I did was I started looking for books and resources and information on what I should teach him to help him be safe when he wasn't with me. And I found a resource and I taught him some rules. And lo and behold, before he was 7 years old, he used those rules to help keep him safe. And several years later, when I had the opportunity to not to have to go back to the corporate world and I could do something more meaningful with my life, I decided that I wanted to share this message with as many parents, grandparents, foster parents, teen parents as possible to give them the same information and knowledge that helped keep my child safe.
And so when you did that, you thought about basically putting down what you did on paper.
Well, actually, I looked into, the information that I had found and taught my son, and it turned out to be part of an educational child safety franchise. So I bought the rights to that program and developed it in northern New Jersey for several years. But I also noticed right from the beginning that their model wasn't really working for my life. And their model was to go to PTO meetings and do presentations and then provide materials and resources for parents to buy after the program. However, having young children at home, it was really hard to get out in the evening and et cetera. And I really wanted to also get my message to working parents. So I hired a consultant, met with him, revamped my presentation, and then started taking it to corporations and offering it as a corporate lunch and learn. And then I also did the PTA meetings, classroom-based programs, but I really got going once I started reaching the working parents.
And when you were doing this, when you're talking to parents, and even at the PTO meetings, how was it received? Were parents really happy to have something like this? Was this something that people were looking for, or was it one of those things where like, wow, we didn't know this was available type of thing?
Well, pretty much every parent's worst nightmare is something happening to their child, or, their greatest concern is protecting their children. So the topic, although it can be scary, it was well received because of the approach that we took to provide it. We used music, we made it fun, we didn't make it scary. And the emphasis is really on teaching parents how to make this topic a natural part of parenting. Just as we teach children to wash their hands before they eat, look both ways before they cross the street, we now started teaching them how to identify strange behavior in anyone so that they can be safe. So we really want to make it a natural part of parenting and not something that just gets done once a year.
I think it's such a cool topic. I have 4 kids of our own, my wife and I, and I have 3.3 grandchildren. I got one on the way, and you're correct. When parents, grandparents, anybody sees anything that would positively impact their kids, they want to go all in and get all the information as possible. And on the inverse of that is people will do anything to protect their kids.
Right.
And I think it's there's a couple of things that are happening here in this show that I think are really, really, really cool, and we're going to get to them. I think one of the neat things is you were a single mom and you've turned a passion into a business, which, this is a financial show, but we're talking about a relationship today, a relationship with children, and you've turned that passion into a business. And I think that's really, really cool. The cool thing about it is the impact and the depth of the impact that you're making in our community. And I know we have other segments in the show today. We're going to talk about these things kind of in an organized fashion. But tell me about your first experiences that you had with the kids. When we talked before the show, there's an impact that you're making with the kids. What are some of the responses you've got from the kids with your book?
Well, when I first moved here to Manatee County, I'd met a woman on a ball field, and she asked what I did. I told her. And she had said to me, well, that's really interesting. She went online and she bought 200 copies of the book that I wrote called Let's Be Safe, had them delivered to my house and said, where these will do the most good. I don't really know where to go with them. So I went to our local school district. We had over 1,500 homeless children in our school district, and they were, sleeping in cars and tents and who knows where. So I felt they were a very at-risk group. So I met with the school district and made arrangements to read Let's Be Safe to the children, work with them. And even though it's written for children as young as 3 years old, these were 4th and 5th graders, and they absolutely loved it. They sat mesmerized. They listened to the text. They interacted. And this mom said to me, she said, if she had this book when she was a child, her life would have been different. So
that's awesome. I want to hear more about that. We're up against the break. We're going to tell you folks how to find Brenda's book. But Joni, as we go into the break, tell people how to get a hold of our office. And we have a workshop coming up, too.
We do. We have a workshop on February 20th, Investing with Clarity at 5:30 p.m. at our offices. Give us a call at 941-361-1484 for your reservation, or go to Journeys with Joni, Journeys, with Joni, Joni.com, and we'll be right back after the break.
Do you know what you own and why you own it? Join us for our next workshop to learn about investing with clarity by calling 941-361-1484 to reserve your seat today. Joni and Mark look forward to discussing the philosophy, strategy, flexibility, and transparency, the 4 pillars of investing, with Nepsis Advisor Services. Call today, 941-361-1484. That's 941-361-1484. Journey with Joni will be hosting a workshop on Thursday, February 20th. A great opportunity to meet Mark and Joni. So join them on February 20th. Please call 941-361-1484 today to reserve your seat. Call 941-361-1484 today. They look forward to meeting you.
Welcome back to Journeys with Joni. I'm Joni Rametta, and just before the break, Mark and Brenda were having a conversation about her book, Let's Be Safe. Mark, do you want to finish that interesting conversation?
I will. It's a cool book, but before we do that, we got a workshop coming up on February 20th, right?
We do. February 20th, 5:30 p.m., Investing with Clarity. Give us a call at 361-1484 or go to journeyswithjoni.com.
And we're talking with Brenda, and her book is called
Let's Be Safe.
People are listening. How do they find your book?
Okay, Let's Be Safe. You can visit my website, www.letsb as in boy, not B-E, safe.com. So it's letsbesafe.com, and there's all the information to purchase the book, the Be Safe Bee, and also contact me for workshops.
If you forget that, we're going to put a link at journeyswithjoni.com. We'll put a link right to your website, Brenda. But that's really cool. I love the story. We got a lot to get in here. Before the break, we were talking about the interaction or the experience you've had with the kids. I would like you to kind of wrap that up and then kind of take us into the journey that you had with writing and creating the book and the content and how you did that. But tell us more about the impact, that, especially your personal one-on-one experience with some of the kids as you've used the tools that you've created.
Okay, well, we have had instances where children have eluded an abduction locally. And when the school district officials went back and interviewed them to say, how did you know what to do, how to get away? Their answer was, the bee lady told us. And the neat thing is it wasn't me. The bee lady this child was referring to was a volunteer from the community who was in a classroom reading Let's Be Safe earlier in the year. So that's, extremely rewarding when you get those kind of calls.
Now, you mentioned, I got to stop right here. Yeah. Because people are listening to the radio, they're trying to see the Let's Be Safe. How did you make the be part a reality?
Okay, well, when children are sexually abused, they're threatened. They're told no one will believe them. It's their fault. They'll be sent away. So they're scared to tell. And the most dangerous environment for a young child is growing up in a single-parent home. So you can imagine mom's boyfriend is touching them and abusing them, and they're scared to death to tell. So with Let's Be Safe, in the book, I have a little bumblebee character that it's kind of woven through the safety rules, but it's also a tool to help children disclose abuse. So when the child learns what they need to say and that this behavior is not good for them, and they get the courage, they will very often say, Mommy, you know how the bee told me to tell you? It's almost like, don't hit me, don't send me away, don't spank me. I'm not telling you so-and-so is doing this. The bee told me to tell you. And so with the program that I've developed, we have the book called Let's Be Safe, but I also have little plush or finger puppet bumblebees that go along with it to help the child disclose.
So it kind of helps the book become a reality to the child.
Yeah, well, when I was writing Let's Be Safe, I thought it would be just a horrible story if I had, say, a little boy going, being lured by someone with a puppy lure, to touching their private parts, to telling them to keep a secret. I mean, how would that ever end? So I thought, let me write the rules in individual rhyming vignettes, and let me make it rhyme so that retention of the rules will go up. Research shows that when you tell someone something, they'll only remember 10 to 20%, but when you set that same message to music, rhyme, or rap, retention goes up to about 90%. So not only are rhymes fun, but as you know, children learn through repetition, and you can't really say the same old thing over and over, yet you can read rhyming books over and over, and they just love it. So there's a lot of reasons why I wrote the book the way I did. It has realistic illustrations so that children who aren't quite reading yet can see in picture form what is good and safe behavior versus unsafe behavior, and yet they're not graphic. So it helps, new readers, struggling readers, young children, multicultural, realistic illustrations complement the text.
So what ages are we talking about where you're seeing some of the most impact?
Well, it's funny. Every child who was not taught these rules growing up needs to know it. So the rules are important even for a high school age child, but you can really start using this book with children as young as 3. It's perfect right through all the elementary grades. And like I said, even high school kids who don't know the message need to know these rules.
Well, and frankly, probably some of us parents probably need to know these rules.
Yeah, exactly.
And how to talk about them. I mean, maybe for some of us out there, that conversations where we want to have conversations with our kids or our grandkids, and we don't know what to say. We don't know how to broach that subject because it seems so taboo sometimes. Using the book and the bee makes it much easier.
Joni, that's exactly why I wrote the book. I had been doing parenting workshops for over 10 years, and I noticed 10 years later, parents were asking the same questions at the end of a workshop as they did the very first year I did it. And I said, you know what? The message is not getting down. You will go to a workshop, but once you get home, you don't really know how to start the conversation with a child. without scaring the child, what words to use. So my idea was to write a book that would teach reading skills, allow a parent to teach the topic, bond, cuddle, and do a bedtime story all in one swoop.
And then having the little bee character also makes it very friendly for the younger kids.
Yep, the bee makes it fun. It ties it all in. They, you know the power of characters with young children. You just have to think of those characters on TV. And so they really connect with a character that's fun, lovable, and it just helps them connect to the message in a fun way.
And so people who are looking to get some more information, give us your website one more time here.
Okay, it's letsbesafe.com, L-E-T-S, just the B, not B-E, S-A-F-E.com. And my email is brenda@letsbesafe.com.
You know, I really like this topic. We've talked in past shows, Joni, about investing with clarity. We've talked about the financial things that we do. I cannot think of a single more valuable investment than our kids. And I know you see that as you travel and as you do the things that you do. And that's why I think we've decided to make some time on our show here to really talk about this. And we've been in conversations over the last couple of weeks that have been very powerful with other professionals about our kids. And I'm looking forward to hearing in the next segment, Brenda, what you've done in our community and what programs are out there that people can get plugged into. And I got to tell you, folks, there is a way for you to have an impact in the kids in our community, and it doesn't cost you a lot of money. It's really cool. So, Joni, I know we have a workshop coming up on February 20th, right? They can go to journeyswithjoni.com, or if they want to call our office,
it's 941-361-1484. We'll be back in just a few minutes.
Do you know what you own and why you own it? Join us for our next workshop to learn about investing with clarity by calling 941-361-1484 to reserve your seat today. Joni and Mark look forward to discussing the philosophy, strategy, flexibility, and transparency, the 4 pillars of investing, with Nepsis Advisor Services. Call today, 941-361-1484. That's 941-361-1484. Journey with Joni will be hosting a workshop on Thursday, February 20th. A great opportunity to meet Mark and Joni. So join them on February 20th. Please call 941-361-1484 today to reserve your seat. Call 941-361-1484 today. They look forward to meeting you.
Welcome back to Journeys with Joni. I'm Joni Rametta, joined here today by Mark Clark and Brenda Sofrio. We've been talking about her business, and we've been talking about our seminar. We've got one coming up, don't we, Mark?
we do. We have one coming up on February the 20th at 5:30 in our office. We promise will only be an hour. We have a lot of fun. You get to meet Joni. I'll be there too. I think she's going to let me. You going to let me show up at this one?
You can come.
All right. This is not a women's only seminar, but 5:30 p.m. is when we're going to have it. It's going to be a lot of fun. We'll have some munchies there, and we're going to be talking about investing with clarity. So it'll be a lot of fun. Now, I know we're at a financial show, but we have a really, really, really cool topic and a really cool guest in Brenda that we're here talking about today. Let's be safe, and it's all about our kids, and in some of our cases, grandkids. Can't believe I have 3 grandkids and I'm only 29. I'm pretty good.
It's amazing how you did that.
Isn't it amazing? Yeah, I hear you. I'm not old enough to be a grandpa, but we had some great conversation going. Joni, you had a question you wanted to kind of throw out and tee it up for Brenda.
Well, I just wanted to talk to Brenda about, telling us about your business and telling us about the impact that your business has had in this community.
Okay, well, in the community, I've been really lucky. Over the past 5 years, the community has totally embraced the message. And through donations made to the school district, we've been able to provide not only a volunteer from the community in each classroom reading to first grade children, but each child has received their own free copy of Let's Be Safe and a Be Safe Bee. And this enables the children to get the message into the homes and with their other siblings. The teachers encourage homework assignments where the parents read the book at home with the children. And we've reached over 10,000 children already. So it's rewarding on a professional and a personal level.
So the books are actually donated to the schools, and the kids actually get to keep the bee and the books.
Exactly, because we want the message to go into the home, be shared with siblings, and many of our children do not have any books in their home to read. So Let's Be Safe has a unique approach. It also promotes literacy, and that's the reason why I actually presented my message in book form as opposed to making a video because our literacy and reading rates in the country are so poor. And I thought every chance we can get for a child to read, a parent to read with a child, this would be the way I wanted to get the message out.
So we're educating them. Mm-hmm. They're reading the pictures if they're young.
Yep.
They're reading the words when they're older.
Yes.
They're having discussion with their parents.
Exactly.
Parents feel comfortable having this conversation with their kids. Mm-hmm. And they've got a little bee that tells them what they're supposed to do. So when they have something that's happened to them, then they come forward with it because the bee tells them to tell.
Exactly. And for me personally, when I see kids walking down the street and they've got the little bee on the back of their backpacks, I know where that bee came from. I know the knowledge they got that went with it. And I thought, well, there's one more safer kid on our street. So that's just great when I see that happening.
What are some of the things you're trying to do as you grow your business? And I know some people are going, well, this sounds like, it should be a charitable organization. No, this is a business. You're pouring your life into it. You got to pay your bills. You got to eat. And this is a great, like I said before, there's no greater investment you can make than in your kids. That's our next generation. But tell us about where you're going with the business. Where are you trying to take the organization? What are you trying to do to reach more kids?
Well, one thing I'd like to do, and this actually wasn't my idea, but I started hearing from teenagers from across the country who heard about my books and my bees, and they went and raised money on their own and then donated the books and the bees and went to read to children in shelters and, at-risk youth, and they earned community service hours for doing that. And that's just like that. I've heard from a number of teenagers who have done that, who have then gotten grants on their own. And what I love about it is it puts a teenager in an environment teaching a message to younger children, and they're hearing the rules again through the back door of their activity. And it's a really neat and innovative way for them to earn community service. I mean, I know with my own children, they were so tired of being told they have to go pick up garbage and clean parks and just do the same old thing, have car washes. So
yeah, picking up trash doesn't change a life.
No.
But reading a book to a child who's in a situation and that gets some tools that they can use to be safe. Mm-hmm.
Well, that's
life-changing.
Yeah, and it also is the first step in helping to break the cycle of abuse that happens over and over in generations. So, and if we can help, break the cycle of illiteracy at the same time, that's a good thing. I'm supposed to be the one that throws the curveballs out here, but this kind of gives me goosebumps to think about the exciting opportunity people have to invest in others. And, you've heard us talk on this show about strategic cost averaging into the companies we own in the portfolios when we work with you on the financial side of life. But when you work on the human side of life, strategic cost averaging into these kids is powerful. I don't know that you could ever calculate a return on having an impact. So two quick things. We're probably getting close to running out of time, but volunteers. I mean, you just told a story about a volunteer. Here in our community on the west central coast of Florida, there's an opportunity for people to volunteer. They can find a way to pick up a book and read it to kids. What are the opportunities there, Brenda? Well, they can, like I say, get a book and a bee and go and read to children anywhere, everywhere. Boys and girls clubs, after-school programs, our shelters. We have so many shelters, the Salvation Army shelters. Those children, they're in at-risk situations in their daily lives. And when you're a child in a shelter, on a victim's abuse shelter and things like that, they don't have books. Nobody's reading to them at night. No one's reading them a bedtime story. They need books. And if you can read this message and get it to them and help keep them safe, there's a direct cost to our society by not doing this, by not preventing the sexual abuse of our children, because there are direct links between sexually abused youth and drug abuse, crime, illiteracy, homelessness, high school dropout, etc. So if any of those are your passions, there's a link that can be made by helping us with Let's Be Safe.
If any of those are not your passion, you should check your pulse.
Yeah, exactly. Sadly, this continues across all areas.
All right, we're down to 1 minute. I want you to tell an impact story. We have a workshop coming up on February 20th. That's about investing, but that's not what we're talking about today. Brenda, take us out of the show. Share with us the experience you had with a volunteer in a crowd when you were having an event at a school.
Okay, well, we were kicking off the Let's Be Safe program in a school district. We had about 200, almost 300 volunteers getting ready to go out and do the program, read to children. And in the middle of our, little kickoff presentation, a woman raised her hand. She was a grandmother, and she said, "May I say something?" And we said, "Sure." And she said, "I just want to let you know, as a result of this program, my granddaughter has come forward, and she's no longer being sexually abused." And, it just doesn't get any better than that when people can actually help.
That just brings tears to my eyes. I'm sorry.
It does, but it's also, you're helping that little person get free. So We hope you enjoyed the show today. Joni, we have a workshop. You want to take us out of here?
Yeah, we got a workshop on February 20th. 5:30 p.m. at our offices. Give us a call at 941-361-1484 or go to www.journeyswithjoni.com.
And we know we're going to put a link for Brenda's stuff on our website.
We absolutely
Joni?
will, because we want people to get in touch with Brenda. So thank you for joining us today, and we'll see you next week.
This program is for informational and educational purposes only. This program is not a solicitation or recommendation for any investment or security. Investments or securities mentioned in this show may or may not be owned by Nepsis Advisor Services. Nepsis Advisor Services is an SEC-registered investment advisor. Thank you for joining Journeys with Joni, Financial Clarity Conversations, today and every Wednesday on Sunny 1450 and 1320.